And it's about, oh, I should do this here. Good morning, everybody. I have a new poem this morning. It's by Hal McCartor, and it's about a Buddhist teacher friend of his. Hmm. It's called No Self. Let me see. I can adjust this better, I think. No, that's fine. A Buddhist friend asked him to share his views with students. He told the students that seeing there is no separate self is the crux of his view. He reported to them he had noticed one evening that nothing was watching his experience. There was no self watching it. There was just the experience itself. Experience, of course, has no agency. He told them that since he knows nothing but experience, it makes sense to say that experience is what he is. He also told them he found a separate self with agency to be an illusion. He felt he should say more about our experience of agency. He told them how previously, when thoughts and behavior appeared in experience, he had owned them as his own, as if he had created them de novo rather than being products of an unseen mind-brain. These beliefs of agency became reified into a self or soul that he thought was who he was. He told the students that he came to see life as a flow of caused experience, not a series of uncaused free choices. When he saw himself without belief in a self or free choice, he found presence, and being became common, and that self-regarding behavior and ego receded. This was a remarkably different way of being, where previously he had believed he was separate from a world out there. He now saw he was an aspect of this one world with a feeling of belonging everywhere. He wished the students well and said no more. I love it. So goodbye. Nice to see you all. Have a lovely sit. Do let's sit. Here it is, Act 1, Scene 1 of our life. It's always Act 1, Scene 1. There is a body, or at least there is something sitting here. There's something postured here, and it's alive. And somehow, utterly mysteriously, it is accompanied by consciousness. And so we could say, well, there's sensations here where I believe my hands are. All these years I've been told these are my hands. They're full of life. Similarly, here in that place where I've been told that there's my face, there's sensations. And here where the breathing expands and contracts the chest and abdomen, there's sensations. And there's this mysterious capacity of knowing them. And of course, there's the other reality or the other manifestation, which is the very mysterious appearance of thoughts. Thoughts which come out of nowhere and when left to their own devices, reveal themselves to be absolutely insane, unconnected with anything, just random productions of the karmic stream. And it's a great relief to find this to be true because we can give up trying to make sense of them. We can give up thinking we'd be a better meditator if we could just control the thoughts. They don't need control. They're just stuff. They'd be nice if they were like puffy white clouds on a clear summer day. They're more messy than that, but they have that much self to them. So come home to the sensations of in-breathing and out-breathing. And somehow or another also, this practice, this spending time with, also is suffused with love and compassion. We're not doing some grim exercise. We are actually here being in love with ourselves and with the universe. We are love manifesting in its form as consciousness and matter. So each breath, it's like receiving the birth of the baby. Here it is, in breathing, yes. She's taking her first breath. Look at that. She's all pink now. And then there's the out breath and the ease that comes with that. And every cell in the body gets to have its feeding of oxygen. And so there's no difference between insight meditation and loving kindness meditation. Even that word meditation is kind of clunky. Let's just call it being present, being here. Here where there is breathing, where there are body sensations, where there are temperatures. The seasons come and go. The sun comes up, goes down. The breath comes and goes. Thoughts come and go. And somehow we increasingly just rest in the midst of it all. Breath, the sensations of in-breathing and out-breathing have been happening since that first remarkable moment when your mother couldn't breathe for you and you had to breathe in. Great gasp. You made it. You made the big jump. You became a separate person. And then you worked at developing a self your whole life. And you were very successful. You are very successful at it. And we don't ever have to give that up. It's just that we don't quite believe it anymore the same way. And so allow each breath to call you home to the physicality of your body, to the earthen nature. Allow the wandering mind, when the trances break, to call you home to the thought nature of being a human. One can attend to the details. One can become concentrated with the breath, or maybe just abide in the life in the hands for a while. But one can also, in a certain way, open to the bigger picture and notice, is this a mind which is restless and agitated? Is this a mind which is concentrated? Is this a mind suffused with love and great acceptance, or is it kind of narrow and demanding things to be different? Sometimes it can be a mind of doubt. Why am I doing this? Does it work? I can't do it. Sometimes it can be worried, sometimes filled with great bliss and tranquility. There's something that's common in all this exploration, which is profound acceptance. This is how it is. It's like this. Remember those words of Ajahn Chah? This moment is like this. What a relief. This moment is like this. And each breath comes into being and then lives its lifetime, declines and vanishes. And each breath sings the same song as every thought, as every body sensation. It sings the song of anicca, impermanence. It's all so harmonious. Nothing ever discordant that doesn't fit that pattern. Beginning, ending, beginning, ending. Please give your imagination permission to create whatever wandering minds it would like to create. And maybe to plant a few seeds of thoughts. To imagine that your body can sit right here and it'll be perfectly safe. You can always come back to it. It's a great home base for a long time. Won't always be, but for now it's home. And let your imagination conjure up something like a nice little road in the countryside. You've been on a road like this. It's gravel and it's a split rail fence on either side. And maybe it's mid-afternoon, the sun is slanting in from the west. And you decide that you'll follow this road a little bit. And all the aches and pains you usually have walking are gone. And you're not worried about being lost because you can go back to your body anytime. And wherever you go, this voice will be with you and you'll be perfectly, perfectly safe. And you don't even wonder where you're going. It's just so obvious that it's a nice road to walk along. And if you look into the woods on the left side, which is the south, you can see just little bits of deer as they flit out of sight. Or maybe you're even lucky and see an owl. You know there's rabbits. There's lots of grass. And it could be your favorite kind of forest. It could be a maple forest or a Douglas fir forest or alder or any kind of forest you want. And on the right-hand side of the road, there's more forest. Perhaps you can see little trails leading off. Someday you think, I'll come back. I'll come back and go on that one. That would be nice. But for today, somehow you're called to keep going a little bit further down the road. You've got a light pack, maybe a little water, a snack. And as you lilt your way along the road, you see in the distance that it looks like there's a gate. And it's on the right-hand side of the road. There's a little ditch you have to go down into to get over to the gate. And it's a very familiar gate. Somehow you know, I've been here before. And then you discover, most interestingly, that there's a rather ornate sign that has your name on it. And there's a little inscription, and it says, this is the garden of the heart of your name. And it could seem odd, but it's actually not odd. It's very familiar. And you see that there's a really beautiful, one-of-a-kind, handmade, ornate latch. It's a kind of brass, clearly made with lots of love. And you reach out and lift that latch and step into this, what appears to be a vast garden of flowers. There are so many flowers. There are whatever are your favorites. They're right there in the front. And then as you look around, you look maybe over behind, and there's gladiolus, and there's daisies, and there's iris, little forget-me-nots. There's all kinds of flowers. And somehow or another you realize, it's like you'd forgotten till just now, but you realize that all of these flowers are the vipaka. They're the fruits of your kindness and generosity throughout your life. All those thousands and thousands of times you've done a good act and really not even noticed. But they've been planting these seeds. There's foxglove, there's hollyhocks, there's marigolds, there's petunias, there's beautiful long stem roses. There's flowers from every season of the year. There's even some flowering trees. There's a flowering cherry. And somehow or another, you realize that if you look to your left, you'll find there are picking baskets and some very nice high-quality shears. And it occurs to you that you want to pick some bouquets of gifts of your finest fruitions. One, of course, for yourself. But then maybe someone else comes to mind, and you decide, I'm going to take home some very beautiful baskets of flowers of fruition, flowers of fullness. Who knew when you were offering your seat to that person on the bus, or taking care of the baby late at night, or helping a person down off the curb, or just being kind with a smile, who knew it would be producing this? And so you make your way in among what else? The bleeding hearts, the tall daisies, those really long, the 3-foot high ones. They're so, or what are they called? Those snapdragons. Maybe when you get to the snapdragons, you hold one by the jaw and make it talk a little bit. Maybe it says something entertaining. And you gather your basket and you fill it. You fill one basket and you take it to the front, and you fill another basket. And you don't worry about how you can carry them home, because somehow they'll all fit in your backpack. That's how it is in this world of imagination. And you can let your heart be as light as your heart knows how to be in this moment of fruition. All these moments of kind karma vipaka, and the vipaka coming as flowers. Beautiful, some very scented roses, some of the finest. There's that double delight that smells wonderful and looks wonderful with its kind of yellowy, creamy red tips. And you pick as freely as you want, knowing that it's all growing back. It grows back as fast as you can pick it. And maybe you have memories of the kind acts that are producing these flowers. And maybe you don't, and it doesn't matter. But it does fill you with gratitude and with a sense of your goodness, of the richness of your heart. And the fact that you've been on your right road for a long time. And then you could stay for a long time or a short time. And you know that you can come back anytime. With the blink of an eye, you can be here, a blink of the heart. And so you find your way. You think, well, I want to get home before dark. And so you make your way back to the gate. And you look back over your field of karma vipaka and discover you can't even tell you were there. You can't even see where you walked and pushed things over to get by. And you go to the front gate and you put the shears back carefully in their proper spots. And you wrap up the flowers in some kind of paper, perhaps, and somehow mysteriously fit them all in your backpack. And you have a nice drink of water. Maybe you sit down and rest for a little while. And you look back over this garden and say, I'm not going to be so long before coming back next time. I'll be sensible here. And you make your way to the gate, and it's just as ornate on the inside, that gate latch. It's just as beautiful, different, but beautiful. And the gate opens in. So you have to step back a little bit to get yourself out. And you step out and across that little ditch, and you look back at the sign. This is the garden of the heart of, with your name. And you turn back to the road, and clearly you need to go to the left now. So the sun is over your right shoulder. And you look into the woods, and there's little signs of deer. Maybe you see some deer scat on the ground, actually. And there's possibly an owl if you look carefully. And you know there's rabbits, and there's lots of other creatures too. Maybe you see a mouse. And you head off now back to the east on the gravel road, and walking along with a certain relaxed lilt, knowing that before too long you'll be back. You'll be back in your meditation spot, but for now you can enjoy just walking with a slight sliding to the left and the right and the left and the crunching of gravel underfoot. And it takes a short time or a long time, but most certainly just the right amount of time to get you back right here. And you find that you're sitting here, and somehow your backpack is still with you, even though you can't see it. And you can decide, what will I do with my bouquets today? Who shall I give my bouquets to? And maybe you don't have to decide, because there could be one that you toss into someone's car as you go by. Or you could give it to someone you're having conflict with, or you certainly put one on your own kitchen counter or somewhere where you'll see it a lot. And you marvel over the quality of the flowers. Wow, they're just perfect. They're just perfect, and there's such a variety. Or maybe you decided you wanted a couple of dozen roses for just yourself, and that's fine. And with these flowers, they also can transform with the blink of an eye, with the blink of a heart. They can transform into, on the in-breath, may I be free from all identification with suffering. On the out-breath, may all beings be free from suffering. On the in-breath, may I be free from all identification with all the contractions of humanity. May all beings be free from all the contractions, all the ways we shrink down into what we think of as ourselves, but actually which are phantom forms. And so letting each breath in fill you, feed you. Each breath in is like a little wind blowing in those flowers that you know are out there in your garden of the heart, because it's always there. It's always there. Breathing in the sufferings of the world, including yours, and breathing out the great awakening, the great, great ease. As simple as it is to feed the flowers in that garden is the simplicity of feeding the garden of our own hearts.